I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think I'm at a place now where I'm ready to revisit my favorite Straw Hats and line them up and pick them out because the list is changing, ladies and gentlemen. It's changing, and I think it's been changed for a while. Not gonna tell you guys what it is today, but just know it's changing, all right? Let's start with the cover story. There's not much going on there. She's with Rizzo. It's not any continuity from the last cover story to this one. I still really enjoy the cover stories. We are following in-canon material within the One Piece world. There's nothing to complain about. Literally nothing to complain about. Even if it's not the most exciting thing, it's in-canon stuff making the world feel more alive. I am here for it. Stop complaining. See more and more people complain about the cover stories. Why it's not better? What? It'll get there. But not much happened. Yamato, Rizzo, is what it is. Now, let's get to the story. I'm not going to go as far as to say, why did Oda bring Saul back? Because you understand why he brought Saul back, right? We needed that moment for, the clip with Robin and Saul, right? He brought him back. But man, Oda has put Saul in so many detrimental positions. Damn near, it's been a comedy for me with Saul, right? Not saying I hate Saul, but geez, man, shout out to Saul. Necessary sacrifices. He's always willing to make a good sacrifice, but Saul, man, Summers, I think he's my favorite God Knight right now. He's really cool. He's collected. He's pretty damn evil, okay? I'm not going to say I relate, right? But he's pretty damn evil. He's cool. He seems like an old war general. Like he knows what he's doing, and I like that. I love competent antagonists, right? Competent characters in general. So shout out to Summers. Now, this chapter, not necessarily an update, more progression, but it's not major, right? It's one of those chapters that you feel like is absolutely necessary. It's giving us bird's eye view as to where everybody is, letting us know just how dire the situation is. Summers, the God Knights, they're making their demands and just seeing how the Giants in Elbaf respond to it. So absolutely necessary. They take the hostages, the Giants, they're trying to fight back. And now we're at the place where, okay, let's make our demands. It's like a heist, right? Like a kidnap. They get the person, the people, they're trying to figure out what happened. Now they are calling with their demands. Now, Giants, it's your chance to respond. It's your turn, Ja Rule. And Ja was like, oh, me? And everything's going to come to light. Everything is going to come to light. Whatever Ja Rule did, right? Not saying he was in tandem with Harold, but whatever he did, if he did anything wrong, now people are going to find out. FYI. Shout out to Gunko. Gunko rounded up the Straw Hats, right? And she took them all down. And I think that's a big W on her part. And Nami's somewhat berating Jinbei, saying, Jinbei, what are you good for? Right? You're here. Luffy's our Sanji now. You're here. We were supposed to be good. Jinbei's like, shut up. I'm trying to figure out how this happened. And listen, both aren't wrong, right? Jinbei is the elder statesman of the crew at this point. He is not saying he's a part of the monster trio. If you want to consider the monster trio, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, sure. But Jinbei's one of those. And so for Nami, she's like, Jinbei, like, how you let this happen? However, the matchup, right? And Jinbei's like, I don't know how to handle this ability, which is fair, right? She has regen and she has a pretty decent ability with the arrows. So he's like, I don't really know how to handle it. Now, Brooke. The panty joke was right there. It was a layup. I thought Brooke was going to go straight to the panty joke. He didn't. He went to an epic quote instead because Gunko, of course, she's enamored with Brooke, right? But Brooke even noticed her, it seems. Two ways it could be, right? Either Gunko is somebody who's a super fan that he's seen in crowds before. She's written to him. Like he understands and recognizes this woman. Or two, Gunko has subscribed to the channel and liked the video because she enjoyed One Piece as well. All right, seriously. If you haven't, though, subscribe. Look down. Sometimes people watch the video. They don't realize they're not subscribed. Now's the time. But seriously, though, the other reason is Brooke has recognized this person, this girl, outside before she was a God Knight or Celestial Dragon. Those are the only two options, right? In my opinion. I mean, there's one more. She's Yorkie. Obviously. On a real note, she's obviously a big fan of Brooks, right? And her coming back and saying he's going to devote himself to her, I mean, it was crazy. She says, you belong to me. She's demanding things. I'm like, whew. Celestial Dragon girl, very demanding, aren't you? Celestial Dragons are all the same. You feel like the world and everything in it belongs to you, huh? Or she's just copying what she's seen. And you guys know how I feel about it. My stance has not changed. I don't think she was born a Celestial Dragon. I think she was welcomed in. We will see how it goes. But I liked what Samur said here, where he's like, Gunko, I don't feel like fighting an emperor today. Like, that's not the mood I'm in. So even the God Knights respect the Emperors, which you gotta love, because I know a lot of people will just immediately throwing God Knights over Emperors casually. I'm like, slow down, temper your expectations. But Gunko is making her demands, right? And Jinbei called her a groupie. I'm like, Jinbei, figure out the ability. What is wrong with you, Jinbei? Thought that moment was hilarious, right? But Gunko basically tells Brook, are you still going to refuse if it means losing your life? And I love Brook in these moments because it's not about her panties, right? It's not about that. He's saying, even called a young lady. Remember he did the same to Big Mom? Because all these people are younger than him. And the fact that he called a young lady is interesting. That's interesting too, because Gunko, we don't know how old these people are. Since they are mortal, that means Brook has seen her at some point. More than likely. That could be a hint, right? Be very careful. No. So Brook says, young lady, Luffy gave me a new lease on life. I'm living now again happily because of him, and my loyalty is to him alone. Then he drops an epic quote. We got to wait for the official before, but I think it's going to be similar. Hopefully they don't butcher it, because sometimes they do. He says, I would sooner embrace death than to live without honor. God, listen, Brook was the MVP of Whole Cake Island. And Brook has been coming through in moments. I said this on stream. I'm going to say it here. It may rile some of you up, but you got me. So far, post-time skip Brook has been what most people would like Usopp to be. And I don't really mean that, but I kind of do. But I don't. I do. Brook has been cool. He's been really cool, man. And I think he comes through in these moments. Again, the layup panty joke was right there and he didn't take it. I think he's going to take it by the end of the arc. At some point he's going to make that panty joke. But he came through with the quotables. He always comes through with the quotables. I love me some Brook, bro. Y'all have no idea. It's that guy. So now we're at the point where the God Knights, Sommers specifically, he's making his demands. He's now letting them know, hey, this is our plan. This is what we need from you. How will you respond? I think it was masterful. I think the only thing that made me crack up is the mention of Saul. This orange-haired, bearded giant tried his best, but to no avail, right? And I was like, Saul, why you keep catching strays? Oda, why'd you bring Saul back? I love it though. I do. I think it's hilarious. And I love Sommers and how he's basking in the turmoil and the torment of the Elbaf people. I'm not saying I relate. I just like it. I like competent antagonists, competent villains. They make a story. And I think the God Knights, they've been really good. They've been really good so far. And I mean, I'm excited to see more. Killingham seems like he's just chilling behind the scenes. He's like the tech guy, right? He's making all these things happen, planning. And Sommers, he's the front guy, right? He's the guy that's going to bloviate and just announce, right? So he's the guy at the front because he seems like he's been around the old block a few times. Another cool moment, Colin, he's been kidnapped and he's walking with the other kids and everybody's freaking out. And he's just there like, yo, relax. I'm here, guys. And they point out something he's scared of and he starts losing his mind too. Shout out to Colin, man. He's been moving like a warrior. And I think, if Two Piece does exist, he's going to be a major player going forward. Also, I got to shout out two more kids that resonated with me. And maybe that was the intention, but two more kids really resonated. Rania and Johanna. Rania, because in the midst of everything, she's like, everything's going to be okay, right? Everything's going to be all right. And my heart, right? That's my daughter of the arc. She come on. And Johanna, horned giant, by the way, says, at least you have parents. Because Bent, he's saying, Mama's going to be so mad. Johanna responds, at least you have parents. So those two, right? I think Johanna's going to be really important, if not this arc, in the future, for sure. And then Rania reminds me of a young koala, seeing koala and a young koala interact with Fisher Tiger and those pirates, the fishmen, and she was so innocent, right? You felt it, right? You felt it, and Rania is kind of the same way, where she's just a little kid. Oda has a chance to do something diabolical. I hope he does not do that, right? I'm not even going to say it because wow, right? I don't know. Just off her saying that, I've connected with the character. I love me some Rania now, right? The crazy part, the nightmares have even rendered the giants, the adults, right? Them useless because now they're using their mothers to intimidate them. And now they're out of commission, right? So they've thought ahead of so many different things that the giants, they don't even have the time to react, right? They can't do anything. And I think using the kids are a genius move because they're now talking about the names of the kids. And everybody's like, oh, bro, I know my daughter was there. I got to go. And of course, your child is your heart. I always say your heart, or I always say that children are parts of your heart walking around out there, right? So with that, most people, right, giants, whatever, they're going to give in, right? They're going to surrender and say, use us as you may, just please don't do anything to our children. Most, because you got Ripley and Yasan out there, and Yasan is proud of Colin. He's like, look, hear that? Colin, he might be something after all. Ripley's like, bro. And they're like, yo, that's not a time to be proud. But as a dad, you're proud of your son in man moments, right? Because at the end of the day, life is life. And sometimes you got to step up, right? Sometimes you got to step up and do what you got to do, regardless of what it is. Now let me go save you. Somers says something about himself, calling himself the dagger of the Holy Land. I don't know if that's a tie into his abilities, but I don't think Somers is the strongest God Knight. I don't think he's even the second strongest God Knight. Possible, but I think he's no less than third, right? I think he's one of those older guys. I think there will be somebody else younger that's formidable as well that's not here, but I think he's he's called himself the dagger. So he has a reputation even amongst the Holy Land. And I thought that was cool, getting more context and insight because I'm interested. Like God Knights, what's the structure? What's the makeup? How many of you are there? How do you become one? All these different things. So call him the dagger. Are we going to have a shield? Are we going to have the speed? Just different. Is this like the distinction, right? Is this how they're labeled? Now I'm thinking about all these things, right? So at this point, it comes down to Ja Rule and his decision. Again, he's going to be exposed. Someone said they're going to kill the kids one by one. Again, Oda has a chance to do something diabolical, not killing every kid, but even if he kills one kid, oh man, that would change the entire context of the arc. I don't think Oda has the cojones to do that. I really don't. At this point, I don't think Oda has the cojones to do that. But only if he did. If he does it, oh God. Angie, shut up, right? Listen, I don't hate Angie. I think she's noble. I think she has a good heart. But you're telling a God Knight way too much about the damn library. You mentioned Ohara. You're talking about how important. I get it, but they obviously don't care about that. Okay? Stop. Please stop. Right now, they're trying to reform the Giants to back to what they were. Screw the libraries, screw the schools, and get back to raising warriors. So like Erwin Smith saying, set your hearts ablaze for me, right? And he says, if you don't, we're going to kill your kids one by one. And I don't know if there's a bigger motivator, right? Because Copacabana is on the way and Robin is on the way. Now, I'll let you guys know, I don't think Robin is going to fight Somers. It is the worst matchup for Robin for obvious reasons. For Scopper, I think that's a great matchup. They call him the Mountain Cleaver or whatever his epithet is. He uses an axe. He uses thorns. Match made in heaven. Gunko and Robin is interesting. And it's interesting for a variety of reasons, mostly matchup and how the arrows would interact with Robin's arms. Robin can spawn on Gunko. How could Robin grab the arrow and tie it? It depends, right? But I think Robin is going to fight Gunko and Somers is going to fight Scopper Gaban. Now, there's more coming to the arc. I've been hearing more and more people say that the arc feels a bit underwhelming considering who's here. More people are going to come, right? I think we just got to be patient. I think we're probably around the middle of the arc. There's still a lot more to go. And I think a chapter like this is absolutely necessary. I'm excited for Gaban to see what comes of him. What does he do? I'm excited for Robin, right? Because this is what we want. Straw Hat moments, right? We want the other moments. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, they're going to get their moments. The others, can they get moments too? And I think that's coming. Good chapter, enjoyable, had comedy, great progression, good progression. And we're in the thick of it now, right? And I expect next chapter to be really good, really exciting. Can't wait to see it. Guys, let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about Somers? Or rank your God Knights for me. Rank your God Knights, best to worst. For me, it's Somers, Gunko, Killingham. That might be most people's choices, but some people really like Gunko. So we'll see. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter, Brogdy. Follow me on Instagram, Brogdy.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. And guys, we'll catch you in the next one.